Have you read Profit First and you've thought, this sounds amazing, except no, thank you, I don't want all those bank accounts? Well, you're in the right place. Hi, my name is Amber Duggar, founder of Profit for Keeps, and in today's Profit for Joy video, we're going to be talking all about why you want to consider using an envelope software system over using a whole bunch of bank accounts to implement Profit First, and why this is so incredibly beneficial for an online business especially. So what the heck is an envelope system? Well, if you've read Profit First, you've been introduced to an envelope system. If you go back to the 1950s and 1960s, you may have heard of those systems that our grandmothers or great-grandmothers had, where they had an envelope inside a shoebox and a whole bunch of envelopes, and they would be listed, like all the different things they needed to purchase, like groceries, rent, all the different things that they wanted to have money for. And then when cash came in, they would just go ahead and organize it into the different envelopes so they had enough money for the things that they wanted to pay for. Well, this is in essence an envelope system, and for many years that worked really well until we moved away from tangible money. So we started using checks, we started using credit cards, we started using digital banking, and that in essence really took us away from our day-to-day using of physical money. And in some parts of the world they're even considering getting rid of cash. So just imagine when we don't have any cash, we are really going to need to come up with a tangible solution to still treat our money as if it were right in front of us. So an envelope system is really helpful in many ways because it allows you to see exactly how much money you have allocated for particular intentions. And that's why Profit First has been so incredibly valuable to so many people, because from a business perspective, for many years, we had money coming in and we had bookkeepers making sure that we were tracking our expenses. But other than that, we didn't really have a way to make sure that we had money set aside for taxes, that we had enough money to actually pay ourselves consistently, etc. So an envelope system is incredibly useful for the day-to-day use of cash flow and managing it. So how can we eliminate the bank accounts if we want to use Profit First? Well, there are software systems out there for many years before Profit First came out that were using this and promoting this for personal budgeting. One of which, my favorite, is YNAB, YNAB for short. So when I read Profit First, I knew right away that I wanted to implement this, but I did not want to use the bank accounts because I had already been using YNAB for many years, and I saw so much incredible benefit from using the envelope software system, and I saw that Profit First could really elevate my business side of things to the next level. So it helps you eliminate the need of bank accounts, because instead of having to have bank accounts for each thing like profit, business expenses, taxes, owner's pay, instead you can use the software to organize the money that's in your bank account. So YNAB thinks of your bank account as one big pile of money, and then it's kind of like a sauna for your money. It organizes into different piles. Or if you use Trello, the different boards, you'll be able to say, okay, a certain amount's going to this board, a certain amount's going to this board. It's the same thing with YNAB. So instead of having to open up tons of accounts, instead you can look at YNAB and say, okay, so I have this much for profit, this much for owner's pay, this much for taxes. And instead of just having one big pile for business expenses, or even several bank accounts for different business expenses, you can have as many lines as you want for business expenses, because each line is in essence like a savings account or like another bank account when you use an envelope software system. How amazing is that? Okay, so I hope you're really excited, because this is a big, big deal. So why would you want to do this over using bank accounts? Well, to be honest with you, it's a lot easier. You're not having to make tons of transfers. You're not having to manage money between accounts. And the other thing is, it just really gives you a lot more clarity of exactly where your business expense money is going to be allocated. So if you have all of your monthly expenses listed out, plus all of your true expenses for your business listed out, you can intentionally put that money aside, and you can see it all in one place. You're not having to log into different banks. You're not having to log in and see different bank accounts and try to use a system that's not really meant for envelope budgeting. This software is meant for envelope budgeting. It's going to be very clear and concise. And on top of that, you have an app that you can check. It's so much better. What about interest? I know that you're probably wondering, well, if I'm not going to put all my money in all the different savings accounts, what about losing all that interest that I'm going to be making? That's a question I get a lot. And you may not agree with my answer, so just want to warn you. I believe that there is so much more power in spending our beautiful, limited resource, which is time, focusing on how to create immense value for our clients and how to generate revenue for our business, over trying to figure out the best interest rate for our savings. What we'll end up doing is we'll make a few extra dollars a month by finding that high yield savings account that's getting us maybe 0.8% interest instead of 0.5% interest. And I can tell you that that will not be the greatest return of investment of your time. So keeping it as simple can sometimes have incredible intrinsic value when you focus on what is the main important thing here. I want to pay myself consistently. I want to make sure I have enough money for taxes. And I want to have a really clear picture of exactly how far I have in terms of time before I need to have more money come into my bank account. And I can see exactly where it's sitting for the different business expenses. To me, that is way more important than making a few extra dollars a month in interest. So you get to make that call. So I want to also touch on why you wouldn't want to use YNAB or an envelope system for Profit First. If you have hundreds and hundreds of transactions that come into your bank every day, this envelope system would not be a great fit for you. What I have had clients do that have a really high volume of transactions is actually use that banking system offline, off of YNAB, and then once a day or once a week, it's really better once a week, to transfer the bulk of the money that they received and move it into an account that's attached to YNAB. That's going to completely reduce transactions that come into YNAB, and it will make it a much more useful system for you. We talk much more about this in Profit for Keeps, but just as a warning, if you have tons and tons of transactions, unless you have an ability to move the bulk of that revenue into a single account that you could then have attached to YNAB, you may not want to use YNAB. The other thing is, if you do not consider cash flow management a top priority in your business, this may not be a great system for you, because again, this is something that I view as a top priority in my business. I look at it every single week. I actually suggest and encourage my clients and people that go through Profit for Keeps to look at it on a daily basis until they become really fluent with the system. And what that allows you is so much additional clarity and awareness of where your money is going. And it's, in my mind, so incredibly beneficial that I would never consider taking that outside of my scope of work. And this is during a time when we are really encouraged to only do our genius zone work and make sure to delegate as quickly as possible. And I am totally on board with all of that, but when it comes to my cash, that will be something that I am focusing on as the visionary and strategist of my business. Now, when it comes to bookkeeping, accounting, absolutely, I delegate that out. But when it comes to being really clear about what I'm doing with the money that comes into my business and how it's going to be used, that is something that I keep very near and dear to my own workflow. So I hope that you liked this video. Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel to get notified in the future when video tips are published. Become cash flow savvy by joining our growing Sweet Life Purposeful Money community by visiting amberduggar.com/community. This is where we help you become a truly profitable and sustainable online business. Until the next video, remember, money is simply a resource, and making peace with money allows you to pursue the things you enjoy with freedom. So much love to you. Mwah.